Hello and welcome to today's Wild Hearthstone deck tech and gameplay video on Imbue Deathknight. Imbue Deathknight is exactly what you would imagine. It is a Deathknight deck that, once it finally got its own in-class support for Imbue, Rogue got Imbue also had their own tools to get imbue cards other than the neutral ones. I don't even remember if they actually had hero powers for it, now that I think about it. Also, not relevant. When the imbue cards that did come out for Deathknight came out, and for certain we got a Deathknight specific imbue, which is a passive hero power, as you can see, where it gives the first undead you play plus X attack, where X is the amount of times you've imbued, is what that functionally reads. I thought, well, this is pretty interesting for like a go-wide kind of undeady aggro thing. So that's what the deck basically is. We are running all of the imbue cards we can. Again, not including Malorn, doesn't really count. It's an imbue payoff, and not a good one. But we're running all of the actual imbue cards that you would ever run if you wanted to run an imbue list. We also have a good amount, and really a load of just low to the ground various undead, and we use these undeads to apply pressure to go to our opponent's face, in addition to whatever pressure the actual imbued creatures themselves can give. Have some card draw in the form of like Finality and what I just looked at it, Petal Picker. So to sort of help the fact that like a deck like this can run out of steam. Storm the Gates is kind of an honorable card draw, sort of kinda. It's really more. Yeah, it's a card draw thing in theory. Now, this is one of those where your particular, if you were interested in running a list like this, the reason why I ran Pure Blood was that I found in testing I needed some removal, and Blood just has some removal that made the most sense. Some Death Strikes in this case. But I also found Alexandra's Mograine to be like an okay curve topper, as well as just being, you know, a big dude that can apply pressure. The Battle Cry is there to, every once in a while, help us get over the hump when we sort of run out of gas and a lot of more controlling decks will turn the corner. Having Mograine's Battle Cry ticking over and continuing to apply pressure even if your board state cannot is pretty nice. Also have a Husk, Eternal Reaper, a Singleton Corpse payoff card. Allows us to stay alive a little longer and is again an okay minion itself. The reason why we want to stay alive longer is that, again, once we run out of steam, we need to, if we can really only subsist pressure wise on the Mograine, having a Husk giving us a extra life is a good way to just stay alive as long as you can, and hopefully close out the game with, again, your Mograine trigger. If all of your various dudes that are undead don't do it themselves. Why I say that is, I'm sure you could run like different rune combinations if you like had a particular payoff, or other certain rune specific like glue cards you wanted to run. I just ran Pure Blood. You could probably run something different. Your mileage will vary. With all that out of the way, we'll go on now to game number 1. But before we do, don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more in the future. And if you have any questions like, I don't have X, what about Y, or other generally nice and or constructive comments, I'll do what I can to respond to what I see. And now we'll finally go on to that game number 1. And game number 1 with our Imbue Deathknight. Honestly, maybe one cadaver can go back. I'm actually going to Storm the Gates on one. That way we can, like, you know, start working towards getting a Zombeast. With any luck, of course, the Zombeast will actually be pretty good. And it's always interesting to have a neutral side quest, especially in a class that can, like, actually, you know, reasonably, air quotes, like, complete the thing. Since, you know, being Deathknight, having undead's like one of your whole bits. Storm the Gates. Going to play the Bitterbloom Knight on 2. My opponent has not really told me much about their deck other than their playing cards. But that's enough. Bitterbloom Knight. I will actually go ahead and coin out an arms dealer. While we're sitting here waiting, I will say the one thing that like really holds back this Imbue from like being the powerhouse that it is, as opposed to like some of the other Imbues like Mage and Paladin, is that it's only the first undead you play each turn that gets the buff. If it was every undead... Oh, my board's gone. If it was every undead, then like we'd have, you know, a real contender for being a genuine deck, but this absolutely like is a... What's the word? Like, I think it's called a kill pill. It will never ever work. In the meantime, honestly, yeah, there's just this deck doesn't really think. It go wide, go fast. It doesn't really live that well. That's interesting. Random minion. Sure. Why not? That's pretty interesting. Honestly, my plan does still remain largely the same. We can always zombies to make this big boy big, and then start summoning small dudes. Hopefully, their whatever bonus effects they might gain might actually be somewhat useful. And this is a deck that, like, again, for the reasons I talked about, like this Imbue being not really that good, you can't even, if it can be avoided, you really don't like turn off the gas. You have to just go face all the time. Because as you can see, I sort of, if you watch all of my videos, which if you do, thank you. But if you do, you will have, on the last video, which as I'm recording this is the Green Black Elves list, you will have heard the fact that I'm not having the most amount of fun. That is interesting. With either game right now. Since, you know, none of the decks or any of the new cards ever matter to the format at all in any discernible way. So as you can see, I haven't really spent a whole lot of time playing. But even the time I have been playing, Imbue cannot get out of silver. It just can't. And like, I'm not a person that like really super cares about the rank. The rank is just a free-to-play way to get more cards. What is there? List is all over the goddamn place. Yeah, fine. Is it cast on a dude? Cast a spell. Nah. Cool, I guess. Unless it's a taunt minion, we do not care. That's a very good card. Doesn't have taunt. We no care. Go ahead and buff up the, what's the word, the amalgam, since it does keep all the buffs we put on it. A little bit of inevitability. Inevitability is a generous way to describe the amalgam, but just a good card that works in any of these like typal kind of tribal deck things. Cool. Void Scripture, probably into some weird sweeper that I'm not thinking of. Not Arcane Explode. I'm sure there's some weird shenanigans that'll like wipe my board or something. We really need to find some of those fuel cards. We don't have a whole lot of, well, honestly, even if we did, only the double imbue draw an undead guy. Or guy, that's just a spell. Wouldn't make any sense. The pedal picker actually wouldn't draw me any cards right now, because we've only imbued one time. Which is, I promise you, not normal. Normally by now, you've imbued 2 or 3 times at a minimum. Just happen to have a really odd draw. That is a guy, but it doesn't have tons, so me no care. They're gonna have to start trading off. And this is, I mean, depending on what we draw, of course. But if we ever find the Mograine before we find more imbued cards, This will be a good showing for what I talked about in, like, sometimes you run out of steam and the Mograine trigger is, sorry. The Mograine trigger is enough to get you over the line. There we go. That's another card. It's not a card draw thing, but it is an imbue thing. Now, what is this card? Service Ace. After this minion attack. Gains... After... What? After this minion gains attack... Reduce the cost of the highest card in your hand by 1. That is a very, like, specific card. Alright. Whatever. No, that was an actual taunt one. That's not great. Guess they were gonna hit one eventually at 2 cost. Honestly, a pretty good one, unfortunately. Yeah, do you thing. No, it's like not the worst thing in the world. Come on, give me Mograine. Give me a something. That's something. It's not something you imagine, but we'll take it. I'm actually gonna get rid of the thing that's generating more dudes for our opponent. Yeah, it's better to just trade in while you can. Not only is it mage, you can just pick it off. The 1 health was left. Even the, like, Dancing Cobra, they've managed to RNG their way into, could just attack freely into it. So we might as well trade it for some damage while we can. These are all, well, I was going to say these are all Sunwell cards, but the aura there is not. Alright, game. Give me some gas or a Mograine here. I've now imbued twice, so that Pedal Picker's online. I'm sorry, was he... Okay, that's a Primordial Studies. Okay, that... Okay. Ignoring that, that's fine. It's just randomly generated. I did technically ask for gas, and you can make an argument that a Storm the Gates is gas. But we are dead to a lot. Why are you not casting it on the thing that cares about when you buff its attack? There's literally nothing I draw that actually saves us here, so let's just be done with it. Unfortunate, again, because all the... Yeah. Credit given to our opponent. They didn't really kill us with like a very standard deck in the meta. But it is one of those where just, yeah, this Imbue doesn't have that ever-growing inevitability to it like a lot of the other Imbues that I actually see any degree of play, so it was just dead on the water, or dead on arrival, I should say. It'll exist in standard, maybe, possibly, and maybe in limited, and never anywhere else. Honestly, which is like, unironically, 95%, if not more, of the cards that are released. But anywho, we'll go on now to game number 2. And game number 2 with our little undead Imbue Deathknight. Pedal Picker does nothing if we don't have any actual Imbue cards. Don't love keeping a 4-drop, but it like is an Imbue card, so we'll take it. Finality's nice, a card that replaces itself. Or the fact that like Finality doesn't like put you up on cards is also like bananas to me. Same reason as last time. Might as well play the Storm the Gates early on. Try and get some zombies to pay off a roll in here. In the meantime, go face with the rest. No idea what our opponent is running other than it's like a druid which has Renethal in it, which might as well be negative information. Coin into some dragon-y stuff, maybe? Oh, okay. So there's going to be Dancing Swords and Cold Tooth Oracle or whatever the hell they're called, or Bluegill or whatever it is. And the 4-mana thing that makes you both draw an extra card, and they're going to Solar Crest and all that boring shit. In the meantime, I guess we play the Knight. If they're going to give us cards, the least we can do is, like, use the cards they give us. Which is, like, the only redeeming factor in a list like this that can make it, I'm sorry, kind of work. in that the real problem with all of the yeah, we'll go ahead and view again. The real problem that exists when you no, just go face. There's an argument to be made I should have traded. What I was going to say is what makes the what makes the mill suck is we're not able to use the cards. This deck doesn't have that problem, but they're running a lot of Jade cards. Maybe they were just running the sword as a sword. Which is possible. Death Strike on a big dude. Play an arms dealer. Go face. Not gonna lie, if it's... granted, if it's a Jade deck, unironically, I have no experience with it facing any Jade decks. So if that gives me something new to go against, I'll take it. No, I thought that was the other. I think it's the actual. I think it's the Crossroads that cares about when you play minions. I think. It's so odd. Man, I love the Baron set as a Horde player. But there's like weird shit that didn't make the most amount of sense. They're like, how do I word this? Actually, it'll gain undead, so that Kindred actually works a little bit better. Sure. Yes. As a person who was Horde and has spent unironically probably days, if not weeks, of his life in the Barrens over various incarnations, none of the post cards made any fucking sense, like, to their WoW counterpart. Europe, I mean, maybe the Farwatch post gathering intel is what that is, but like why that would make your opponent's things more costly, maybe. But like, man, it was a fucking hell of a, what's the word? Oh, they are. Okay. Nice. What's the word? It's an odd choice that's where they went. I'll just say that. Well, now, how the hell did I get a Tyrion? Cannon Death Rattle. Random Death Rattle minion. Okay, I thought it was like... I don't know why I thought it was like a Death Rattle minion that would have been like a beast or something. That helps. It's a lot, actually. Okay, so they are also mill. Which is fine. Just kind of goofed my ish up. I guess Finality... Yeah. Sure, Malignant Horror. Guess we'll go face. I mean, honestly, we'll take it. It's not exactly what I had in mind, but like... Yeah. I mean, granted... Okay, let me rephrase that. This card makes more sense. They just had a weird sort of sub-theme of, like, Jade cards to, like, fill it in. But if you're going to run a lot of the mill cards, Farwatch Post are genuinely very smart then. Yeah, it's just a weird inclusion, but it's, like, not wrong. Guess we can do a blessing on the amalgam, and then our amalgam has a lot of attack and fuck all else. Sure, do what you gotta do. Sure, I guess attack there. Guess we attack here, or not attack, but you know what I mean. Go face with the rest. On the bright side, our Malignant Horrors are like weirdly like working better than I would have thought. We're like still very much so like in the game, but like it's not a given. It's Cold Light was what I was thinking of. Mograin's pretty good here. Oh. Okay, they're starting to get a little less sympathy from me because the deck's getting more boring. Yep. Any secondo now. Any second now. That's the thing you do. That does add up. That's fine. I don't think that really changes what we do in any discernible way, shape, or form. I think Mograin's still the right card here. In that case, I guess we do you. Ignore the rest of it. Just go face. No reason to do anything else. And maybe now we'll actually be able to see the Mograin start applying some pressure. I would say... Okay, let me rephrase this. I know Druid has loads of ways to both restore health and to gain armor. But you don't really see a whole lot of that in the mill, like, versions of Druid. That, there... Well, just fuck me, I guess. Yeah. Druid, the class that has everything. Doesn't want for anything at all. Cool. I guess we do Bitter Bloom. Do 2, then I'll actually play a Tyrion, just so I have a big fuck-off body. And again, go face. And hope another Fordring... Or these two Fordring... I think they're brothers? I think. Or Tyrion is... my WoW lore is missing. I'm gonna say brothers, but Tyrion could have been Darien's father. Never won an alliance player or two. I never super messed with Deathknight in actual game, so who knows? We do actually have lethal. Yes, thank God. That is a perfect example of showing, like, trying to make the best out of, like, a not subpar, like an average strength. Imbue can sometimes work, and the deck works well enough, and you can have fun with it. You're not going to climb... Honestly, I mean, you could probably climb to gold with this if you just, like, sat down and committed to it. But boy, oh boy, man, you gotta, like, be really committed to the bit to grind through all the weird-ish and all the, like, to me, what are not fun matchups. Deck is okay. Imbue is so underpowered. To be honest, I'm never coming back to this again. We're never gonna see Imbue again, and we're not gonna get a new Imbue. Any new Imbue cards would just give us more instances of, like, ways to buff the imbued power, hero power. We're not gonna get a different hero power. So, like, unless they change it to where the buff is every single undead you play, Imbue is honestly a deck I would not recommend playing. If we're going to keep it a buck, don't let somebody like me waste their time and or cards. You don't live your life. Don't be bound to this to the bit like I am. Anywho, thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like the video if you like it. Subscribe if you like my grab bag of content and would like to see more of it in the future. And if you have any sort of questions, like, I don't have X, what about Y? Or in this deck, for the example of this deck, I didn't run Pure Blood. I ran, you know, like, Pure Frost or Pure Undead, or Unholy, or whatever, you know, mix of them, and I replaced Mograin with blah. Or other generally nice and or constructive comments, I'll do what I can to respond to those. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.